Welcome back to the Tide Room Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video. This time I want to talk to you about where we are with the classifieds, a couple figures that are coming up. I'm going to take a quick look at each one of these figures, each one of these characters. I'm also going to take a look at some stand-in figures that I've picked up, kind of tell you the pluses and minuses, and if maybe you should consider them. We're going to talk about all this coming up. First thing I want to say is, taking a look at the overall line, they look semi-retro, but very stylized. And I think there's a very specific reason that they're doing it. First of all, I think that they're going to come out with like a super classic looking figure down the road, kind of like they're doing with Star Wars. Those all look classic. There's no stylization to them. But I also think that they're going to capitalize it by selling the same figure over and over. We've seen this already. But when you look at the stylization, a lot of my friends say, well, they got to target the kids too, and the kids probably aren't so into old G.I. Joe. So maybe we'll take that into consideration as we're looking at each one of these. First up, we're going to take a look at Snake Eyes. This figure does actually look really good. One of the better looking figures of all of them. Lovingly referred to as version 2, I do feel like he resembles the version 2 Snake Eyes very well, and that's my favorite. So kind of with this, some of my complaints might actually be different than other people's complaints. So I like the version 2. Some people might have rather had this looking like the version 1. I didn't like the version 1 as much. I like the version 2, but that's just my collecting experience. So I guess you could say its mileage may vary on which version of a figure you like. Quickly going through the articulation, you do have the head side to side. It's on a ball joint up and down, and you also have the neck. And I think pretty much all of them have relatively the same articulation. You can do the 90, you've got the bicep swivel, you have what appears to be a double jointed elbow. I'm afraid to try to get too much out of that. And then you have the hand swivel side to side. You do have this ab crunch here. You do have the waist moving around like that. Let's see real quick. I was thinking you have a bit of a butterfly also in the shoulders. I don't use the butterfly as much as probably other people. Now, all this articulation, I feel like he was floppy right out of the box. And I don't know, he's hard to stand and his knife falls off. But anyway, we have this thigh articulation right here. We can get almost a 90 to the front and 90 to the back on this. Looking at we have right here at the ankle area, the shin, it moves. You've got a double jointed knee, which feels like you're going to break it trying to get to the double jointed knee, which I don't need that much, but it's good that they've done it. But all this articulation, he struggles to stand on his own. This guy falls over a lot. And then I'm sure a lot of people say, well, Mike, you don't know how to pose your figures. Well, then maybe you're right, because I'm mostly an in-package collector. We're going to get to that in a little bit. That'll probably trigger a bunch of people. But anyway, but looking at him overall, he looks good. Looking at his paint, his visor seems to be like a darker type of black than the rest of it, and it's kind of a charcoal gray at the top. I do like this. Wood removable grenades have been good, maybe. Then getting on down, this knife on the holster. The holster is actually removable, and the knife doesn't go all the way in. Now, I know a lot of people have said they've had that issue. It went all the way in the first time, but I can't get it back in. Over here he has a gun, a pistol that removes, and this pistol actually has a hole in it, so that's interesting too. I'm not sure what the hole's all about. He does come with this gun too, which is all these Nerf guns that they come with. A lot of people don't like the Nerf guns. I'm not a huge fan of it either. I wish he would have a real gun. On the back he's got his backpack. He's got this nice sword. It works pretty good. He's got some paint on the sheath. The backpack also, he's not very sturdy, and adding a backpack in, it's just hard to get him to stand consistently. If you put in the work, you can get him to stand. And I think after like my third time of him falling over, I got him in a pose that he didn't fall. But let's look at the next one. Next up on the list, we can go through this way faster because we already did articulation. Here's Duke next to the classic G1 version. And I gotta say that I was a little disappointed in the whole line when I first saw him. In hand, I like Duke a lot better. Kind of wish he would have had his helmet, his signature helmet that he would come with, and really, I know we're going to get something that looks exactly like this one day. I guarantee you, this line is that successful. It's going to happen. But looking at his head sculpt, it looks like, I think somebody had said it like it's a younger looking Duke. He does have this removable strap which connects to the backpack back here. He has the waist piece and all that. He's got the gun in here. It looks good. It looks more like a gun. His weapons look more like real world weapons than some of the rest of them. There are a lot of paint apps and paint detail. This shin guard to me like is unnecessary, completely unnecessary. This kind of stuff, trying to make it look like a Fortnite figure, but you're going to see a Fortnite figure here in a second. But overall, I think the Duke looks pretty good. He's one of the better looking ones, more close to the originals. And if I can make him stand again, his backpack does make him a bit back heavy. I don't like that part. Next up, we've got Beachhead. This is the Cobra Island one, a Target exclusive, and I think he does look pretty good. I mean, I don't really remember a red beret, but he looks like Beachhead. I don't have my G1 put together. He's in shambles, or my original vintage one, so we're not going to do a comparison on this guy, but the rest of them. But looking at him, he looks pretty good. I don't like the vest so much. It's something, I don't know why they added it. Like, this one looks pretty close to the original, but then they throw the vest on there. I don't remember a vest on him. But here's the backpack. Here is the crossbow. It does plug in right there. There is storage for all this in pretty much all the accessories can clip in somewhere, so I like that. But I don't like that the guns still look kind of goofy. I would have liked this to have been painted. Maybe make it look a little bit better. Why is it green? And it's not even the same green as most of them. It's just real weird. Here's his green handgun. And his backpack fell off again. So I'm not a huge fan of backpacks falling off. He's got a knife that sheathes in. So it's a pretty cool figure. He looks pretty good. My version, there's a blue and a brown eye variant. This one is blue-eyed. Yep. Next up, we're going to talk about Roadblock. Roadblock is one of my favorite characters in the line. I just like the rhymes, the way he talked. He was just exudes coolness. He was really an awesome character. I loved him. Probably, if I had my original toy, it would be... I do have one of my original toys, but I had 2 Roadblocks as a kid, and one of them I played with so much it was destroyed. Just destroyed. But anyway, the gun doesn't really match. Now, this gun's not right, so I'll show you an actual picture of the correct gun on the Tiger Force one. That does not match. It's not a... I don't know what they're doing with this weird looking gun of his, but there's a lot of talk about why is it, oh, well, we don't want real world guns in this war, an army line. I mean, come on, give me a break. There's no reason for this weird nonsense in the guns, but I'm sure we'll get regular guns, and we'll get a classic release eventually with the real guns and everything exactly how we want it, and of course we'll have to buy it for the 4th or 5th time. So, but looking at it, it doesn't match this. This is what it should match. It matches more of this guy, but it still doesn't exactly match this guy. So, like, it's kind of like, wow, how far away are we going to get from the originals, and then we're going to get 2 Roadblocks, and the other Roadblock, I have them right here somewhere. I don't even count that. I mean, I just don't understand what they're doing with it. But looking at this figure itself, the head sculpt, it does look a little bit different than what I would have expected, but it is what it is. The vest is reminiscent, like I said, of this guy. He is wearing a vest, reminiscent. It's very similar, but then he doesn't have the sleeves, and it gets really far away from it. But you see how we have this knife in here? This, you can actually have a removable knife. So that is where this line does shine. You have accessories that you can plug into where previously you spent your whole life just looking at them, painted on, and not being able to do anything with them. This guy is pretty big and beefy and hefty, and he is a little bit more stable than the average figure. And maybe it's because he's not wearing a giant heavy backpack to pull him back. He's holding a big heavy electric Nerf gun. Next up, we have Gung-Ho, and looking at the original vintage version versus this one, the people like to talk about how there is a difference in the tattoo here, and so this is the Marine Corps one. This one is like just a big mock-up, copy, fake, whatever. And understanding when you have licensing issues like that, that is a thing. But looking side by side, he's not like a perfect match. But it fits the bill for me. It kind of works. The hat is way different. That's something. But the hat's actually removable. So there it is, which I think he looks terrible without his hat. I would just keep that hat on. But anyway, looking at this figure side by side, I would have rather had it look a little bit more like this. But then again, this color really never made sense. So that's always the thing people like to talk about. Getting into looking at this figure, he does come with 3 guns. His guns look more real world than other ones and other figures, but I do like this one of the better ones that they've put out. I have trouble keeping the guns clipped into his backpack. Probably doing something wrong, but I tried every configuration, and the backpack does make him a little bit back heavy, but I can still get him to stand a little bit better than some of the other ones. He does come with whatever this stuff here is on his leg. Looks like he's got some bombs, but they're not removable. You can't throw them. You can't remove these grenades and throw them either, but it's really cool. It's built into it. Would have liked him to have a little bit more interactivity with some of these things like the other ones do, but it's just the way it's set up. He's not meant to do it. This vest is removable. I think you can get it off. I don't have any reason to want to take it off, so there it is. This is Gung-Ho. Next up we have Scarlett, and I do want to say that this figure doesn't look anything like the original Scarlett. I do like the head sculpt, the face sculpt a lot better than the original. It does look nicer, kind of a glare from the lighting, but it does look nicer than what they did over here. It looks like they used the guy's face, but whatever. I don't really care for the stylization of this. I would have looked for something more like that. This is the biggest departure out of all of them. But she does come with her signature bow, caster, whatever, the crossbow kind of thing. She has this backpack. She has 2 knives that I guess you can insert them in the back here, or she can hold one. She has this weird looking star thing over there and some stuff on her forearm. Just stuff that I've never seen with this character. It's almost like she's a live action movie adaptation. Look like maybe she's in one of those ecto frames or whatever that helps her run fast or something. But a little disappointed in her overall. Still, the head sculpt I thought was outstanding. That's the real one takeaway from this. And I'm pretty sure we're eventually going to get one that looks perfectly spot on. Again, I think for all of them, maybe it'll be 2022, 2023. Once we've already amassed a bunch of stylized ones, we'll get a whole series of them that look perfect. And looking at a couple of my stand-ins, so this is Sergeant Slaughter from the WWE line, and he has this special, this doesn't really come with him, you have to get this separate, but I think this is a pretty good way to represent Sergeant Slaughter, and this particular figure, you're probably not going to ever see Hasbro make it. There's a licensing deal going on, something about he's getting made in another line, and I saw that one, and I was like, wow, that looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. The face sculpt, he looks like he's grunting real funny, just doesn't look right. But I tried to make this figure look as close to the original as I could, and basically he does look pretty good. I don't even have his baton, but it doesn't really matter to me. I just think it looks good. If you want one, get a WWE Sergeant Slaughter. The price is going up on this guy because people are realizing they're never going to make one in Hasbro. So I saw this guy in the store on clearance for like $5, and his name is Master of Kung Fu, Shang Chi. Anyway, he's got a movie coming out too, from what I hear. But I was like, well, he looks like he might make a quick kick stand-in. And then I get it home and realize, oh, he's supposed to have black pants, and he's got a red sash. So, I mean, it's a big far stretch, but it's kind of fun just to have something in there. I do like the ninjas and the quick kicks and all that fun stuff. Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, Quick Kick, those are some of my favorite figures. Even Firefly, even though he's not really a ninja, but I like those figures. I like those characters, so might as well have them in there. If this is something that you can find for $5 on clearance, maybe it's something you want to throw in there. Next up we have Destro, and I do have to say Destro probably sold me on the line. I actually was passing on him and passing on him and passing on him. Then I saw Destro and I said there's a glimmer of hope that we're going to get something that looks sort of like the original. And if you look at them side by side, you could tell not only is he based on this character, but he strongly resembles it. And it looks like the little bit of stylization, maybe with the collar, and then this part down here isn't that bad. And then, of course, all of the extra added detail that goes with it. But I think that it's a good figure. I think he's pretty awesome. His gun does not look... It looks more like a Star Wars gun, actually, than G.I. Joe. But it's still a great figure. I like it. And the vac metallized head, that's not something we're going to get these days. Maybe it's environment. Maybe it's they're trying to be cheap. The shininess of this is good enough. It's good enough. But I would have rather had a vac metallized head but then again, once it starts chipping, I would not expect mine to chip at all, though. Looking at him real quick, though, he does have a gold gun right here. That's cool, a little handgun that goes into his holster. He comes with his briefcase. He looks pretty good in the back, pretty good in the front. He's got, of course, all of the same articulations that we've already looked at, and his gold chain is kind of free floating, so that's pretty cool too. His head, just I love that shiny silver noggin, that chrome dome of his. Next up, we have a Cobra Commander, and I really think is a combination of two Cobra Commanders. The style sort of lends it to looking a lot like the hooded Cobra Commander, but he does have a face plate on it, which I don't really like these extra little parts that come down, but we'll look at that here in just a second. I really, truly wanted something that looked either just like this or just like that. But this, I feel this looks more like that, even though these are the exact same body style. It's the paint scheme that matches this a lot more. There is one that's a lighter blue, but not nearly this light blue. That's coming from Hasbro Pulse. I've got that one on pre-order also. I do feel kind of silly that I'm buying multiples of the same character, and it's kind of like crazy, like why am I doing that? But I do buy multiples for another reason. I'll talk about that here in a second. But looking at these two, the Cobra Commander has some good points and some bad points. Real quick, looking at his head side to side there, he's got a nice bit of a shine to it. It's, I don't know, similar to what they did with the Destro head. I don't like these pieces there. I really do want more of an original look, a classic look. This does look sort of like you would expect. I like the Cobra symbol in there. This doesn't seem, it's like glued on. It's got a nice gold Cobra symbol there. He's got this sword in here, and it's kind of a sword. It's an interesting accessory with a Cobra on it. So a lot of cool things that went into this, but stuff that we've never seen before. His gun looks kind of weird, but overall as a figure, not too bad. Not exactly what I wanted, but you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, what's he gonna look like 40 years later after he's acquired, you know, $100 billion? Or is Cobra Commander the first trillionaire? So looking at these two different options for Firefly, you do have, let's pull this up so you can see the boxes. You have two different options out there for the Fortnite that look like they're based exactly off of Firefly. They look really close, but I want to show you to start out what they look like next to Destro. So this is Jazzwares, this is McFarlane. McFarlane went for a 7-inch scale, so I really feel like McFarlane is out. It's just too big, but there are some things it does better than the Jazzwares. The Jazzwares, to my belief, is the Jazzwares one fits the best, looks the best. I think Firefly is a little bit shorter than the average character, so in my opinion, this one fits. But hey, I might be wrong on that one. Just want to show you real quick. I think that the gun is better on this one than this one. I don't like that green, but they both have a lot of the same things, like the red pieces, the red bombs right there, the red paint on the side. This one almost looks like a Cobra symbol from this angle. You're like, oh yeah, that is a Cobra symbol. No, it's not when you turn it to the side. I do think that this colors on this guy here are washed out. These colors look a lot stronger. This does feel more like the correct build. It feels more like the Hasbro build, a lot more solid. But then again, some of the Hasbro ones aren't really solid, so that's not it. This backpack looks better. This backpack has this big weird Fortnite looking bomb on it. So there's giveaway trade-offs for each one of these. At the end of the day, I would pick this one over this one, which surprises me because at the beginning of this had a higher price point than these. And it's funny, like, okay, this one was more expensive, this one was cheaper, but I had to pay more for this one. I think I paid 12 for this one and like 11 for that one. Storm Shadow, I don't really like the Storm Shadow they're putting out. I never picked it up. You can still get it for 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll have a link below for all of the ones on Amazon that you can still get for 20 bucks at the time that I post this video. So looking at this though, I'm using this guy here. This is the one from the Rambo line, the Coleco Rambo line. It's the closest thing that I have to a Storm Shadow. Of course, I got a bunch of White Ninjas laying around, so why not toss them in there and be my Storm Shadow? It doesn't fit 100%, but it works for me. Getting down to the last four, and then we'll talk about what's coming out and what's coming soon. And looking at this, I don't open up my first figure. I'm a mint and package collector, so I keep a set mint and package. My second figure I get, let's see which one's got the worst packaging. That's the one I open, and I haven't got a second one of Baroness, so she's not open yet. But I also think Baroness is going to be coming out as a standalone release. I think they'll put her out by herself without the motorcycle and all that down the road, especially when they see how popular she is, and she'll probably have some different accessories with her. So it'd be kind of worthwhile to, I guess, have both. I don't know. I really hate buying the same figures over and over and over. I like to have one in the package and one loose. So when you buy the same figures over and over and over, that gets really, really expensive when you're buying two of each. So anyway, looking at this motorcycle, a lot of people say it kind of looks like this whole, it was an Iron Man or Spider-Man or something, that this motorcycle, let's get that in perspective. So a lot of people said that it was based loosely on this motorcycle. I don't know if that's true or not, but I happen to have had one, so I figured, hey, let's toss that in there. I don't really know where they came up with the whole stylization of this motorcycle. It wasn't in the vintage, and I hope we start getting some vehicles in this line that look retro, more retro than this. I understand you have to pop that thing on, it's really hard, but looking at the Baroness, she does look really good. I like her. She looks right. She looks pretty spot on. Let's put her next to a G1 comparison. Sorry, it's all the talking about Transformers. I keep saying G1. It's vintage, but I think they really nailed her. She looks really good. I mean, Hasbro nailed her. Good job, Hasbro. But I know she has a lot of extra little parts and pieces that plug in here and there. She has holster for her gun and all that stuff. So, great figure. Again, I think they'll have a standalone release. I wouldn't drop the 150 people are asking for this thing. Next up, we have the Pimp Daddy Destro right here. Yeah, I think it's a pretty cool idea. I never really even knew about the Profit Director version in the vintage line. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I pre-ordered this through GameStop, and it was only 25 bucks through GameStop. I thought that was really strange. It was $22.99 plus tax. It was like 25 bucks. Cheaper than everywhere else, and I was like, heck yeah, I'll get me one. I really didn't see why I needed it, but I got it anyway. And here's Red Ninja. Now, Red Ninja is based very similarly off of the Storm Shadow that they're doing, which I don't really care for, but it's one of those things that I know if I didn't pick it up, I would want it, and of course I haven't seen another one since, so I guess I'm glad I picked it up. But it's a pretty cool looking figure. It comes with a whole lot of accessories. Again, it's not anything based off of vintage. Any Red Ninja we had back then looked a whole lot like Storm Shadow. So the infamous Cobra Island Trooper, and the thing about this guy is he does look pretty good. The other thing about this guy is they're making an infantry trooper. Everyone is losing their mind over this figure. And I gotta tell you, you can go to BBTS right now and order 20 of them. Like, no more complaints. There's no reason to complain anymore. You want a troop build it at BBTS right now. I'll have a link down below. This guy is super easy to get, but it'll be March till you get them. I mean, I know you have to sit there with no troopers till March and then get 20 at once. They're 23 a piece, though. You got to pay a little bit of a premium at BBTS, and then you got to pay the $4 shipping, and then of course they charge tax. So, I mean, you're going to be dropping a chunk of change, a few $100 on this to get a little army of these guys. But if that's what you want, you can get them without spending $100 a figure. That's insane. But you're not going to probably get the eye goggles and all that stuff. But it's going to be a little bit different of a figure. I like that one a little bit better, actually. Let's quickly look at the future. What do we have? Well, we've got the Cobra Viper, and we have Firefly coming. And I think that Cobra Viper looks good. I'm a little not impressed with the Firefly. Taking a closer look at the Viper here, looking at his backpack, it looks pretty good. He's got a nice looking gun, but still sort of reminiscent of what the other guns look like. His handgun looks really good, and he's got, I guess, a scarf. Is that what that is, a scarf? I don't know about that. And then some goggles or something. But the thing about this is, sold out instantly on Target. These are Target exclusives, and the thing about this guy is, I'm hoping to see a reissue mainline, just like they did with the Trooper. Looking at Firefly, he's got a really thick vest on. I don't know why they did that. That doesn't look like the Firefly I know. He comes with some cool little accessories in there. Dynamite, a flying semi-drone kind of thing. Of course, his backpack and all that. But I think I'm going to be pretty happy with what I've got going on right now with my Jazzwares figure from the Fortnite one until I get a more classic looking one. Next up, we've got a mainline release here of... Okay, we're going to get Cobra Infantry and Zartan. And we don't know anything about case breakdown. But I'm starting to think that this is literally going to be like 2 Zartans and 4 Cobra Infantries. If they did that, they're genius. That's what they need to do. But with that, you can pre-order all of the Cobra Infantries you want on BBTS right now. I'll have a link down below. Let's look at Zartan a little bit closer. Okay, so he does look good. He does have some stylization to him, a little bit less than what was going on with the rest of them, but the rest of the figures. I think he looks pretty good. I think they're doing the bad guys justice. The bad guys, for the most part, aside from Firefly, look really good. Now, his helmet thing is removable. It's really, I don't know, his hair. The face piece does slide over his face. It's not a removable, swappable head. So a lot of really cool nods to the vintage toy. That I absolutely love that. So good looking figure. The colors are a little bit different than I would have expected, but again, this is the Classified line, and it looks really good. So lastly, we have the Cobra Trooper looking good. He has a uniform blue color instead of the black vest or the black breakup that it had in there to make it look not as uniform. They did say this is more of a classic look than the Cobra Island one, and I agree, it is more classic look. I like the way this looks. I'll be up front with you. I did order 5 of these through BBTS, and I'll leave that link below. It's still open for you to order through it, and it's like 23 bucks a figure. But you really can't have an army without some troopers. So I really hope you enjoyed this quick little overview of the G.I. Joe Classified Collection, and if you like them and you're in on them, let me know down below. If you're a hard pass, let me know down below. Let me know what you think about my predictions. Like, subscribe. Hanger out.